There's something strange happening with the world. It is not just a crisis. It is not just a war. It is not just another year beginning. It is a collective feeling, as if everything were accelerating too fast, as if the world were too restless to stop and reflect. People are tired, anxious, confused, even while living in the most informed generation in history, even surrounded by technology, quick answers, and an excess of information. And this raises a deep question. Are we living through just another common period in history, or are we passing through a different time? The Bible never taught us to mark dates. It never asked us to point to a specific year, but it has always warned us about something more serious, discerning the time in which we are living. Jesus spoke about signs that would not appear in isolation. They would appear together, like labor pains, becoming more frequent and more intense. Throughout this video, we will observe some of these signs, not as predictions, but as steps that humanity has been following, often without realizing it. And there's a final step, rarely mentioned, but the most important of all. So stay until the end. And before we continue, if this type of content makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel and like this video. This helps this message reach more people who are also trying to understand the time we are living in. Now, let us continue. 2026 is not presented here as a prophetic date, nor as an announcement of the end, but as a symbolic marker, a point of reflection, because the question was never when everything will happen. The question has always been another one. How are we living while time passes? The first sign is not a specific event. It is a state. The entire world seems restless, unstable, as if it were always on the edge of something. Never have there been so many advances, and, at the same time, so much insecurity. People have access to everything, but they feel secure in nothing. The Bible describes times of anguish, not because of single fear, but because of constant uncertainty. And this does not happen in only one place. It is global. Crises that were once distant now affect us directly. That is why so many people repeat the same phrase. It feels like the world is no longer the same. And this is only the first sign. After that, something changes in the way we experience time. The days seem shorter. The mind does not slow down. People wake up tired, live busy lives, and go to sleep with the feeling that nothing was enough. Never has it been so difficult to remain silent. The Bible speaks about the increase of knowledge, but also about confusion, too much information, too little reflection. When the mind lives in acceleration, it loses the ability to discern. And this sign is dangerous because it does not frighten. It prepares the inner life for people to accept any direction, as long as it promises relief. The third sign is even more delicate because it does not happen outside. It happens inside people. Changes in values, changes in behavior, changes in the way of thinking. The Bible speaks of a time when what is right would seem wrong, and what is wrong will begin to seem normal, not because of explicit malice, but because of confusion. There is less willingness to listen, less interest in what is eternal, and more focus on what is immediate, on the now, on what gives quick pleasure. This sign is silent. It does not cause alarm, but it slowly distances people from what truly sustains a human being. Then another sign appears. People stop asking how to live and start asking when everything will happen. Throughout history, many have tried to set dates. All of them were wrong. The Bible gives a clear warning about this, not to generate fear, but to avoid distraction. When attention is fixed on dates, the main message is lost. The focus was never to know the day. It was always to live with awareness. After observing all of this, a natural question arises. So what does 2026 represent? Not as a prophetic date, not as an announcement of the end, but as a symbol, a point of reflection, a world that continues in the direction the Bible described long ago, not because of a specific year, but because of repeated choices. What matters most is not the year on the calendar. It is the state of the world and of the human heart. And after observing signs, changes, and warnings, it is essential to remember something. The Bible never used fear as its central message. The focus has always been to awaken awareness. It speaks of vigilance, not anxious, but conscious. It speaks of spiritual preparation, not as a burden, but as direction. It speaks of hope, even in difficult times, even in confusing scenarios. The end is never presented as terror, but as fulfillment, as the closing of a cycle and the beginning of something greater. That is why understanding the signs is not about living in fear of the future. It is about living with purpose in the present. After all of this, the most important question is not whether the end will be in 2026. The real question is, how are we living now? Are we attentive or distracted, aware or simply reacting to what happens around us? Perhaps the greatest sign of our time is not in the world outside, but in the way each of us chooses to live while time passes. If this video made you reflect, do not let it stop here. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share with someone who feels restless, confused, or full of questions, because understanding the time we are living in is not about fear of the future. It is about wisdom to live the present.